Hi, and welcome to America is Calling. Thank you for joining us. I love my country, and if you love yours too, please stick around and listen to the American stories brought to you by the everyday American people that make up this great country. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment for my guests as they would love to hear from you. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy.
They had an FBI investigation on me for 17 months, trying to find any way they could to to pin this on me, which he has got me, and he has put me where I need to be. My mom, she is happy for me. She knows this is where I'm supposed to be. She knows Charli is the woman that was supposed to be in my life. Man, I think I just with a lot of people on my end on the comments, and they want to hear, like, they've seen my wife's story on TikTok and from her perspective and her views. So I've actually made 3 parts of videos on TikTok at the Scott Powell's. I'm going through my end, my perspective of how we met and how things went. But um, how we met is it's definitely divine intervention. It's definitely God's plan. He provided this woman who is beautiful, amazing. She's loyal. She's funny. She's awesome. She never missed one phone call. I know we're talking over 6 years here, brother. She found a way for us to get married. She found a way after she was off probation to come visit. We actually got married before we met each other in person. How it all came to was um, Charli went to do, or she had to go. So she was sentenced to 90 days in a federal prison. She was um, married to a guy for over 20 years who owned a paramedic business. And, I'm not trying to put him out there or anything like that. He got caught messing around with some of the money. And in that process, she got caught up with a credit card that she used and got charged with fraud on a device or something. I'm not sure, but she'd never been in trouble. The feds pushed her, pressed her to try to speak against him, where she wouldn't have done one day. And she's like, no, that's my husband. That's how loyal she is. Um, so they said, well, you know what? Since you don't want to cooperate with us, then you can go do 90 days. So she was sentenced to a federal camp, which is the lowest security in prison. You have the camps, you have the lows, and then you have the FCI mediums, and then you have the highs, which is the penitentiary. Well, the camp that she was supposed to self surrender to, turn herself into, was full. So, by the grace of God, she went to a low, and at that low was a friend of mine from the past who was involved uh, in the same field I was, which we all know. I'm an ex drug dealer, and she they met, and so my friend took her in under her wing, showed her the ropes. Yeah, I don't know, just protected her from the evil within the system, the enemies in there. She just was very protective of her, and they became very close friends. And so at this time, just, crazy that the friend of mine decided to think of me. So they started talking about me, and she wanted to get in touch with me and get a message to me. So once Charli was released, Charli had given her word that she would contact me and send a message. And she had actually asked her to kind of be my person on the outside and help me if I needed help with things and to that nature. So um, Charli got in touch with me. I was still in the state system waiting for the feds to come get me. I got sentenced in the federal system and the state, so I did my state time first before the feds came and picked me up. So when she sent me the message, it it just hit home off the bat because from the inside behind the walls, like, your word, and it's the same with real and real out here, but your word is everything. So I had this girl hitting me up, doing a favor for someone that she said she would, and that, I don't know, sparked my spidey senses, whatever you want to say. She was doing something that a lot of people don't do. They say they're going to do. So they get out, and once they get out the gates and the walls, then that's a that's the pass for them. And a lot of people don't do a long amount of time, a long bid. So I understand the world's fast. I understand how it works. But for me, being released before once, I know how it is to stay in contact, to pass messages, to help people on the inside. Because I mean, it's just like we said, we're in prison, brother. So uh, we have limited resources. At the state facility that I was at, there was a lot of phones, so I was easy to access my social media account, whatever, Facebook. Wasn't very. I only had a few friends on my Facebook. Was just a few to find people to plus to pass messages. So I got this message or this friend request from Charli. So I accepted it, and then the message came through from my friend, and so nothing major. She just wanted to get in touch with me. Well, uh, it meant a lot to me. So we talked the first time, and we caught up on how she went to prison, how she met the friend of mine, and she, we just started talking, and she told me the story of how she ended up there, and so basically what I just said, she was like, you know, old girl wanted to get in touch with you and let you know I was not forgotten, and and that makes you feel good too. You just want to be remembered a little bit because you've become a lost entity while you're in there, and so I remember asking her. I think the first call, the second call, or I asked her. I was like, "Well, can I call you back? And what's your deal?" And she was very open with me, very honest, and she told me about her husband's deal, and uh, they they both got time at the same time, sentenced at the same time. She got the 90 days. They sentenced him to 2 years, and at the time, their youngest daughter was 16. So the judge allowed her to go do her 90 days first, and then when she was released, he went and self-surrendered and did his 2 years. During the 90 days she was in, uh, allegedly, her husband, um, let's just say he did some things he shouldn't have done. And it hurt her to her core because she was loyal and for over 20 years and was loyal to him, loyal to her children. And, Charli struggled with addiction for a while. She has been clean for 5 years and some months now. Um, Congratulations to her. Um, she just was so awesome, man. We just clicked and we became friends. And right after I got this message, that's when the feds came to get me. I think me and her probably had 2 or 3 conversations before the feds came and got me. So I was taken to uh, a county jail in South Georgia, which was the feds rent out a pod or two, and that's where they house federal prisoners before the feds come and get you, take you to Atlanta. and then you're dispersed off like cows to wherever you're going. But while I was at this place, this county jail, we started talking every day. So, like I said, my friend had asked her to help me out and do things for me. Well, I was pretty much a bookie in prison. That's how I made my money, how I survived. Um, so while I was at the county jail, I had her start giving me Las Vegas numbers on whatever sport was going on at the time. So I could make my tickets up and I could run my tickets for the other inmates. And she just,
Can I ask a question there?
sure.
So you've got a hustle in there running numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And you have trusted her enough by real knows real. I think it's gut to help you with this and to not because you know that she's also looking at some time herself, right? Or some past transgressions from that. She's going to be watched, I would assume, correct?
Yeah, Charli is dedicated, determined, and once she fixate her mind on something, we're so much alike in so many aspects that she's going to do what she has decided to do. She's going to go for her goal. She's going to get there. Well, she had decided that we were going to be friends regardless. I mean, even her husband. So while I'm at this place waiting for the feds, generally, most inmates wait 2 weeks and then they're shipped out. Well, I got stuck there. It's crazy because this is sitting in front of me. 9 weeks. That just happened to be sitting on the table in front of me. 9 weeks. I got stuck there 9 weeks, and these 9 weeks gave us a time to become close, you know, become close. And actually, we might have talked more than 2 or 3 times before I came, but 9 weeks is 2 months and a week. So those 3 weeks we talked the 3 or 4 times, 2 or 3 times, whatever it was. We ended up starting to talk every day. Let's start my morning out, getting the numbers, getting my tickets together. And then, I would call her throughout the day. And then all of a sudden we really couldn't talk to each other enough. We both were laughing, happy. I was happy in a good spot. I had found my passion. I started writing. I started writing a few movies at the time. I had actually finished one by this time. Um, was excited to get to the feds because the consensus was the feds are awesome, the feds are great, blah blah blah. uh, she became my best friend, bro, and we couldn't talk enough. 15 minutes would go, seemed like three, and the calls were not cheap, and she was finding a way to talk. And after about 4, 5, 6 weeks there, we were on the phone one day, and I mean, I was never disrespectful, bro. Like, and she'll tell you this, and we'll have her on, and she'll tell you exactly better than I can tell you, because my memory's like a goldfish sometimes. I can forget what I'm saying in the middle of a sentence. But she, like right now, what was I saying? No, I'm just kidding. But she, she, uh, she did anything and everything I needed her to do. She'll tell you I was needy a little bit. I like to get things done. I don't like to wait. I don't like to procrastinate. And so she got on board, man. She became a teammate. She was a team player. She became my friend, my best friend. We couldn't talk enough to each other. You don't want to be where you're at when you're inside anyway. So when you find some inkling of joy, you want to hold on to it as long as you can. Well, we're on the phone one day, and I don't say that I could tell, but we were close. We probably had some conversation. I'm like, well, man, that stinks. I've always wanted a little short country girl. Maybe that was inappropriate. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But I'm saying it was never sexual. Like I didn't cross the boundary and, say anything like this. Um,
Just old single
she,
man Southern flirting.
yeah, man, just good old
Innocence.
conversation.
Uh,
She hadn't
Again,
had that in a
single
long
men do
time.
that. And married men do it to their wives, but single men are the only ones that do that now, Scott. I don't know anything about that other, honestly.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, a funny thing I'll jump to is my friend from where she met her in prison actually told her to be very careful with Scott now. He's charming and you'll be leaving your husband. And I'm like, she told me that. I'm like, no, 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 I don't know. It happened. A lot of guys, like the same question you asked me before we got into this little segment here is how in the world? And one of my good buddies in prison, who's still in prison, after I told him the story about us meeting and how we got married and all this, he was like, "How did you do that?" I didn't do anything. God brought me and Charlie together. She was not happy where she was. The alleged uh, misconduct after being loyal. I You're a lucky man, brother. Like 28 and 32 years, whatever, is a blessing. Like, the world, man. This woman knows how to love. And God knew that I didn't know how to love. So he placed this woman in my life at this time. And like I said, I was in a good place. I mean, I was not in a good place physically. Mentally, I was because I came to the feds. The First Step Act had been um, just passed. Everybody was talking about, well, we're going to do 65% of our time instead of 87%. So we're all calculating out our time. And I'm like, wow, I've only got about 3.5 more years. Well, that didn't work out, my friend. I did another 6.5. So for her to be there, because I remember, um, well, let me go. We were on the phone one day and she's like, look, go to the kiosk. And I'm like, oh Lord, what have you done? What? She's like, just go to the kiosk. And I sent you something. I'm like, okay. I hung up. I went to the kiosk and I pull up a picture and her hand is with fresh ink, dots from the ink from the gun with a 22 on her ring finger. Same 22 I have on me. I was catch 22 in prison and on the street, which is, I've told you before, I've retired that name. I'm just Scott now. And I went back, my jaws dropped. I went back, I'm like, you are absolutely crazy. She's absolutely crazy. Yep. And she is. And that's what it took. I had to have that little bit of crazy because obviously I was a little crazy from obviously my past. And we were total opposites. She was a married woman, loyal, family. Like I said, soccer mom. I was, I guess, a bad boy, drug dealer. Um, I don't want to say ran through women. I just didn't keep women around. Like I just knew I couldn't commit. Right. And the difference between me and a lot of cats is, that was not important to me. Like people know that my business was first. Yeah, I was a butt. You know what I'm saying? Like I was a butt, and she just showed me a side of the world that I wanted and knew, like, from my mother. My mother was that. And I mean, the core values of loyalty and family.
And speaking of your mother, if you don't mind interjecting, because I think anytime mothers are brought up, we must pay homage to our mother. Uh, you recently saw yours for the first time in a minute. Take a quick little 30 seconds and tell us about, or as long as you want to, but tell us about how that interaction went and tell us about how they get along, Charli and your mother.
Good. Okay. Well, at first, mom uh, wasn't having it. Was it? For me, you asked me how I got Charli. The only way I could attempt to try to get Charli was give her the only things I have. That was my family, my mother, my father. I, First and foremost, that's what I had. You know what I'm saying? That's my family. I'm going to show you that I'm for real. Like, because after she got the tattoo, I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm doing this. I decided in my mind, let's do this. I mean, it was done. Her and the ex were done after the alleged misconduct, whatever. It was a done thing. She didn't deserve to put up with that, and I wouldn't, you wouldn't. Like,
And I won't
any
make
real.
you say it, but I can infer that it was a big slap in the face to her, especially when she's sitting there doing some time for her loyalty.
Right.
Would I
Right.
would I be correct to infer that? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
100% correct.
Okay.
So at at that time, I had a couple females in my life. One, um, just be real with you, she was a friend, but a mule for me. Along with my bookie, I was not living right, and I wasn't close to God. I was still in the worldly uh, mindset. I had a mule bringing things into me from the outside through visitation. So um, I knew that I had to cut that off because Charli is smart. She there's there's no getting around anything. She was married to an assistant police chief. Okay, so um, there was no games from my end. So I probably did girl completely wrong by ghosting her because I was, um, although I wasn't in my faith strong, I have a foundation of faith because of my roots and how I was grown, thanks to my mother and my father. And I I I ghosted her because I had to. I had to. I wasn't going to take the chance of losing. I went about it wrong. Yes, I did. I've dealt with it. I have had to ask for forgiveness. I've had to deal with that. I went about it the wrong way, but that's what happened. So that showed her I was for real. Giving her my mother, giving her my father was for real. And then she was so cool that she reached out to them. She made contact. I told them both about her. I want you to get to know this lady, this woman. She's amazing. She's awesome. And I'm sure in the past, I didn't bring a whole lot of women around my family. So, you know, they were like, sure, she's probably from the past. She's probably like all the other girls, that you've been around. And I could tell them whatever, but mom is the prayer warrior. She is the one with the super faith. She is the example of a person who um, has lived by her faith. her whole life. She's not given up on it. She never remarried after my father and hers problems. Um, she is a true example of faith and relying on God, believing in God. And I firmly believe my foundational cores follow in her footsteps once I have gotten regrouped in my faith and strengthened through God. She's a shining example for that. And I thank her for that. I love her for that. And so, but she was very protective of me. She did not believe that Charli was as good as she was. I think that most parents don't believe that anybody's good enough for their baby boy. Uh, we 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 went through it now. Mom's like me. She doesn't put any cut on it. She doesn't lie. I'm have a lot of mom's qualities. It can be good and it can be bad. And she didn't want this. You know what I'm saying? She didn't believe it. So it was a struggle for Charli and my mom at first. I mean, you're talking about over 6 years now dealing with this. So for 4 years, it was a struggle for her before they really broke through and uh, started to open up with each other and talk. Charli was willing. My mom, my mom really wasn't. I'm just being honest. She really wasn't as open. She didn't realize the commitment. You know, I mean, how could they believe me? When I got out, I'm not going to do anything wrong, and then I go back. I'll go back to prison. So I let the family down. You know, and so I can understand them in a sense not believing things that I say. And
So was Mother's Day 2025 the first time that they saw each other in person?
uh, she actually met them both the first time she came down to visit me, and I think Mom got to know her and her quality and her nature on that visit. And even before I was released, Mom wasn't happy about um, the possibility of me moving to Missouri. You know, she wanted me in Atlanta, and I don't blame her. And that was the plan, was to come to Atlanta. I was coming to Atlanta. Unfortunately, uh, the BOP decided not to give me any halfway house. I was supposed to be released 15 months before I was. So but I'm not mad at all because I'm happy where I'm at. I love Missouri. I want to be here. I love her family. They've accepted me. You know about the grandson. And I'll get back to this, but I know you asked me about Mother's Day. So there's a video on our TikTok. Um, it shows that reunion, and I went down for a family reunion in Atlanta, and she didn't know I was coming. I had to tell some fibs, some little white lies, Mom. Because at first it was like, well, I'm going to try to come down here, but I have to get approved for my probation. And and then once I got approved, I had to just tell her I didn't get approved because we had already planned, my brother and the family, to go to church with her, and then for me to show up. And so we were going to meet her. Now, this day went all crazy at first because we get to church. All right, so we're at church waiting on my mom to get there. My brother said she's late all the time. She's going to be late. It was like 10 o'clock and she needed to be there 11, but she was watching another church service before she was even ready to come to church. So uh, anyway, she at 11:20 we're waiting because we were going to meet her in the parking lot, and that's when I was going to walk up behind her and be like, Mom, or I was going to say her name. So she'd turn around and then say like, Mom. So I was going to surprise her that way. So and 11:40 comes around, we're 40 minutes into church worship. Praise and worship is about over. We're actually watching the service online. My brother's in his truck, and uh, me and my wife are in another car. and we're watching the service online, waiting for her because the whole point is we were going to show up, be there, surprise her, go into church with her because that's what the plan was. That's what we wanted to do. That means a lot to me and my mother. So,
Sure.
Uh, at like a quarter till, we're like, man, we're starting to get worried because she's not answering texts. I even called and acted like, since we were an hour behind up here, I was like, Mom, I just got out of church up here. I know you're probably in church. I'm just trying to get a message, trying to get something from her. And so we ride around the parking lot. My brother, he doesn't see, my brother and my niece, they don't see her car anywhere. Finally, I think I see her car. So I'm like, I think I found her car, y'all. So they came over, and sure enough, that was her car. So by this time, it's like 5 till. The preacher's already been in the sermon 10 minutes, 15. There's only like 15 minutes left to church. So we decided to wait. As we're waiting, my brother's like, they're letting out. And he's like, there she is. And I'm like, well, go stop her. Go stop her. Like I said, you can watch this video. It says, first Mother's Day with Mom after 20 years of prison. If you find that video, you can watch that video. But he doesn't get out, so she's racing to the car. Little did we know at the time she had forgot her phone, so she wanted to go home. She was looking for David, my brother, in the church. He wasn't there, so she was freaking out on her end, like, man, something happened to them. We thought something happened to her. Nothing knew what happened. So she starts pulling out. So I actually run over to her. I got a vase of flowers, and I got a card and some things that I had kept from when I was a baby. The birth in the paper where it says the birth of the child, who the parents were. I had a baby card of my pounds and what I weighed and how tall I was and whatnot. And then I had some handprints from when I was 5 years old. I had that for her. And I was doing this right here. And she just happened to look over, and she just stopped. Her mouth dropped wide open. She almost got out of the car without putting it in park. She finally puts it in park. There's people behind her. I'm like, no, Mom, just pull over here. Just pull over here. So she pulls over, and she gets out, and we hug, we embrace for, I don't know, a good couple of minutes. And, the tears flow. And
be there nights that I can't sing a lullaby to your pain and teach you things that I don't even know.
and then the rest of the video is us there, her opening her card and me giving her flowers, and then we went out to eat, and then we went to my grandfather and my grandmother's, my mama's grave site, and visited them. And I took her there as her mother and father. And so that's how we spent Mother's Day. And it was really cool. And we got to hang out some of the day. And then we had to go to the airport and catch a flight, which got delayed 3 hours and 5 gate changes. That's a whole nother story. But we finally made it home like 4 a.m. in the morning. I had to be at CDL school at 6 o'clock. So it was a rough night, but it was well worth it. And, I have to get approved to travel. So, I don't think the next time, sometime in September, I'm gonna get to go back and see her. But back to her and Charli, the first time Charli got approved to come see me, which we had gotten married. I was on lockdown at USP Canaan, U.S. Penitentiary, which we'll get into that in the next episode, because that's where they sent me after the 17 months in the SHU for my cellie, who died of natural causes. They had FBI investigation on me for 17 months, trying to find any way they could to pin this on me, which it was never going to happen because I was totally innocent. And that's definitely will be our next our next episode, next get together. We'll get into that because a lot of people want to know that story. A lot of people are curious of why I spent 17 months in a 6x10 cell by myself for 17 months on something I was innocent of. But, you know, my wife had found a proxy marriage out of Kansas. There's only like 2 places in the United States that you can do this. She found a way. She found a way because she was right. She has a felony. And us being married, they can't keep us apart now. But if we were not to have gotten married, it would have been an issue. Well, as I was saying a little bit earlier, I was supposed to get out 15 months early. The original plan was she was going to move down while I was in a halfway house. And if I could have worked 15 months, I probably would have came out with $15,000, $20,000. Instead, I came out of prison after that long with $11 and some change. And then our at the Scott Powell's on TikTok, you can see a lot of videos. There's a lot of videos. You have to scroll back down, but there's a video of how our followers. I was supposed to get a grant for the CDL school, and I was denied the grant on Tuesday, the Monday before I was supposed to start the class. And then our TikTok followers stepped up. One special, awesome lady, she had called my wife or started messaging my wife, and my wife was kind of leery, like, is this real? Because there's a lot of bogus stuff on social media, as you know, who's real, who's not, videos of what's real, what's not. And this lady wanted to donate almost half of the total cost of CDL school, which runs around $6,000. So once my wife knew she was for real, and the lady, I think she Venmo'd us the money. There's a video of my wife waking me up and telling me, and then that video went viral. We had 2.7 million views on that video, and then we had over 100 people donate and pay for my way to go to CDL school, brothers. So that's just another testament to my wife, man, how amazing she is. Because when I came home that day and I was denied the grant, man, I threw my phone on the couch and I just walked out the door and I went driving. I didn't know what to do. I was just talking to God, like, you know what? All right, you don't want me to do this, then show me what you want. Because I had already at the time probably filled out 30 applications and I just wasn't getting anything back. I had a couple of interviews. One was at Lowe's, and he told me there was 3 people interviewing for the job. It was a sales position, and that one of the guys being interviewed was an internal employee already. So I kind of knew right then and there that they were going to hire with inside the company, and I was not going to get that job. So I wanted that job. God didn't want me to have that job. I was just trying to get a job, so I kept going and going, and 55 applications later, then the CDL school, I'm like, you know what, if we can get the grant, let's do this. And then I got denied. So my wife found a way for me to get into school. She found a way for us to get married, so they could not keep us apart. Without her, brother, I don't know where I'm at, because my mindset was fine. I wasn't going to come out and do anything illegal, but who knows, after 55 applications and getting a job in Atlanta, maybe it would have been a little easier. But like I said, I was supposed to be there 15 months. She was supposed to come down, at least stay in Atlanta, get away from Missouri for a couple of years, and then we were going to come back, because the grandkid is very important in her life. Her daughters are very important in her
Absolutely.
life, and her youngest daughter is pregnant. She is about 5 months in, so We have a little girl coming now. So not only will I have a grandson, we'll have a granddaughter now. So the blessings come. I will tell you this. I have my Bible here to read a verse that after we both had decided, hey, I'm doing this thing. I'm still at the holding facility in between, waiting on the feds to come. She sends me this verse, and it's out of the book of Ruth, and it's chapter 1, and it starts in verse 16 and 17, and it says, I don't like this version so much, but this is the one I have in front of me. It says, "Entreat me not to leave you, or to turn back from following after you. For wherever you go, I will go, and wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if anything but death parts you and me." I mean, jaw dropper. Wow. Like, man, God is awesome, brother. Like,
Absolutely, he is all the time.
all the time, man. And he has got me, and he has put me where I need to be. My mother
Amen.
has accepted where I'm at. Um, she is happy for me. She knows this is where I'm supposed to be. She knows Charli is the woman that was supposed to be in my life. My father loves Charli. Charli hasn't had a mother, so now she obviously has a mother, but I'm saying she wasn't there from early age, and now she has. Uh, she also lost her father, and she lost her father. Charli went back to jail. So let me recap and tell you why she went to jail. Her youngest daughter and some guy was over at their house in the basement. Charli had no idea what was going on, and the guy was down there he was doing fentanyl, and so he overdoses in the basement. So when they realize that's happened, Charli's a paramedic. She goes down there. She helps get him back, and they get him to the hospital, and they save him. Um, when the cops came back to search the house, they found the baggie that the guy had, which was empty but had residue in it. So they charged her because it was in her house. So they ended up dropping that charge, and the federal probation revoked her probation for 9 months. So we lost contact, and for a couple months, and then I'm not sure if I talked about this yet, but I got a message, basically saying, Charli doesn't want to be with you. And it was a bogus message, it was something that was concocted up from another party. You can imagine who from. And man, I was just like stunned, and like my heart was chipped, man. Like, what in the
I
world
bet.
would you bring this fabulous, amazing, loyal, beautiful woman into my life that I want to marry and be my wife? And so finally I got a postcard that came through, and I knew that she had not gone anywhere. And I was praying, bro. I was praying because the pandemic was going on. I was praying, and I was like, God, why? And he's like, I just heard, brother, I heard his voice. I heard it in my head. And he's just basically like, don't worry. He's like, she's the one. So I had a peace, and it became peaceful. And then the story was able to get to me. And through our friend, I got the message. And I sent a message back, said, no matter what you hear, no matter what you do, I love you. I'm here. And so when
How
she
long
got
did it
through
take
with
to
all,
get that message back to her? Or how long did it take for you to find out that it was not the case?
a couple of months, brother. Like,
Wow.
yeah, 6-8 weeks. Struggle was real. And pandemic had hit. So I'm locked up in my room with the celly, and he's telling me, yeah, she done blew you off, brother. That's what happens, and blah blah blah. So my wife, you know, came down and met my folks, and then she came and met me, and we'll get into the next time we meet. We'll get into just how awesome and amazing she was during the 17 months FBI investigation, man. Like, man, she kept me sane, brother. Like I said, stacks. I can't even show you how much letters. Every day she wrote me 3, 4, 5 hours, and she just told me her life, every single second and aspect of her life. So for 17 months, we got one phone call, 15 minutes. The perseverance of our relationship is amazing because she went away for 9 months. We were separated, a postcard, messages that weren't getting relayed. Then I get to federal prison just after shortly, couple months there, pandemic hits, she gets locked up, the separation there. And then my cellie, dying of natural causes, put me in the hole. Dirty VOP warden and captain trying to find a way to not be on their jacket, trying to find a way to make it my fault. Crazy how they don't care about human life, like the things that they did. I can't wait to get into that in the next episode. But my wife just spent hours on hours in writing me, encouraging me. And at that time, God started using me. I started out with prayers for the tears that I was on. When I say tears, it's the range that we were on with a certain amount of cells. It's kind of a small shoe, 96 cells compared to the penitentiary where there was 240 cells. But I was able to, through God's work and just being a vessel and allowing him to use me. A couple guys got saved, prayer every night. Then it became a word, a devotion, and the spirit got powerful. And I know at the end of our first episode, I told you about the one he gave me about the children, they're your children, and how he wants us to love him. And it helped me grow so much in my faith during that time. And then to have her there as my companion, as my best friend, as my future wife, just, man, I I can't praise God enough, and I can't give her enough credit for uh her loyalty, her love, man. Like, she showed me love out here. Now God's uh refining our love, through the world, man. Like, man, just check us out. Check out our story. Like I said, at the Scott Powell's on TikTok, man. And it's been truly a blessing and amazing, man. I couldn't. Sometimes I can't even put it into words. I can't. I just, bro, I'm at a loss for words. I can't even explain to you how everything happened. It just was so cool. And I can't wait to get with you next time, and we will talk about my celly, unfortunately passing away, and just some more of the things that Charli did, and just how amazing she is, man. Baby, I love you. I love you so much.
So, brother, can I take that as a commitment for part 3?
Most definitely. Lock us in.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And thank you all for joining us here at America is Calling.